Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is November 24th, 2022. It's sunny outside. It's Thursday today. How are you spending Thursday today? Yesterday, I was watching a soccer game. Japan versus Germany. To my surprise, Japan won to 2-1. In the first part, the first half time of the game, Japan lost one goal, so the result was 0-1. But the latter half time, Japan won. Japan got 2 goals. So in the end, Japan won, which surprised me. Which surprised many people in the world, as well as me. I usually look to do what I'm interested in. I usually look to put emphasis on doing what I'm interested in. I usually look to put emphasis on doing what I'm interested in. I look to persuade my parents to buy me video games many times. I look to persuade my parents to buy me video games frequently when I was a kid. I look to persuade my parents to buy me a video game many times. According to the rumor, the bill seems to be effectuated at the that session today. The bill seems to be effectuated, passed into law today at the diet session, ordinary diet session. The bill seems to be passed into law. The bill seems to be effectuated. Some politicians are in a hurry to effectuate the bill. It takes time for the bills to be effectuated. It takes time for the bill to be effectuated. It takes time for the bill to be effectuated. Some of the politicians are preventing the bills to be effectuated from effectuated. Some politicians are preventing the bills from being effectuated. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuating a bill and other things take time. Effectuating a bill takes time. It takes time for a bill to be effectuated. It takes a time for the bills to be effectuated. Why do you want to effectuate the bill? The, the Prime Minister effectuated the bill, which was criticized by many people. The Prime Minister effectuated the bill, which was criticized by many people. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuating a bill takes time. It takes time for the bills to be effectuated. It takes time for the bills to be effectuated. It takes time for the bills to be effectuated. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuating a bill takes time. The bill seems to be effectuated in the diet session today. Many procedures have to be met. Many procedures have to be proceeded. Many procedures have to be proceeded before the bill is to be effectuated. In order to effectuate a bill, many procedures have to be proceeded. So usually it takes time. Effectuating a bill takes time. Many procedures have to be processed. Many procedures have to be processed before a bill has been effectuated. Before effectuating a bill, many procedures have to be proceeded before a bill has been effectuated. Effectuating a bill takes time. Effectuate. What is the difference between pact and treaty? Pact, treaty, agreement, and accord. What is the difference between pact and accord? Pact. The pact was signed between the countries. Among the countries. The pact was signed between the countries. Between the two countries. The pact was signed between the country A and country B. The pact was signed between the country A and country B. The pact was not effectuated for a reason. The pact was not effectuated for a reason. accord, treaty, agreement. Free trade pact, peaceful pact, peace pact, economic pact, free trade pact, peace pact, peace treaty. Free trade pact was signed, contracted between the countries. Free trade pact. Free trade pact. There are many kinds of pact. There are many kinds of pact. Free trade pact. Economic integration pact. Economic cooperation pact. Economic cooperation. Economic cooperation pact. Economic cooperation pact. And there are many kinds of pact, which confuse me a lot. Pact. Accord. Pact. Accord. Pact. Accord. Free trade pact. 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 Free trade accord. Peace treaty. Peace treaty. Peace pact. Economic cooperation pact. Economic cooperation pact. Economic cooperation pact. Economic cooperation pact. Pact, accord, treaty, agreement. Free trade pact. Economic cooperation pact. Economic cooperation pact. What does the pact mean? What is included in the pact? What can the country benefit from the pact? What do both countries can benefit? What can both countries benefit from the pact? What are included? What are included? What is included? What is included? What are included? What is included? What are included in the pact? What is included in the pact? What are 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 included in the pact? What can both countries benefit? What can both countries benefit from the pact? What can both countries benefit from the pact? Pact. What can both countries benefit from the pact? What can both countries benefit from the pact? What can both countries benefit from the pact? Pact. Pact. Accord. Pact. Pact. What can both countries benefit from the pact? 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 Pact. Pact. What can both countries benefit from the pact? What can both countries benefit from the pact? What can both countries benefit from the pact? Pact. Pact. The meeting was held among the signatories. The meeting was held within the signatories to the agreement. Signatory. The meeting was held among the signatory nations. The meeting was held among the signatory nations. The meeting was held among the signatory nations. Signatory nations. Signatory. The meeting was held among the signatory nations. The number of signatories to the petition has been increasing since the advertisement by the famous person. The number of signatories to the agreement, to the petition, is increasing. The number of signatories to the petition is increasing in hopes of the overturn of the rule of the conclusion by the court, law court. Signatory. The number of signatories to the petition is increasing. The number of signatories to the petition is increasing. The number of signatories to the petition is increasing in hopes of the overturn of the decision made by the court. The number of signatories to the petition is increasing in hopes of the re-inspection of the matter. In request for the re-inspection of the matter. Signatory to the petition. Signatory to the treaty. Signatory to the treaty. Signatory to the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum. Signatory to the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. Signatory to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Signatory to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. TPP stands for Trans-Pacific Partnership. CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. Signatory. 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 The signatory nations gathered in the city to discuss the matter. The signatory nations gathered in one place to discuss the matter. The number of signatories to the petition is increasing. In request for the re-inspection of the matter, the number of signatories to the petition is increasing in hopes of the re-inspection of the matter. Signatory. 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 TPP stands for Trans-Pacific Partnership. Maybe you've heard. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. The signatory nations gathered. The signatory nations to the Trans-Pacific Partnership gathered to have a meeting, to hold a meeting. The signatories to the Trans-Pacific Partnership gathered. The meeting among the signatory nations to the Trans-Pacific Partnership is going to be held in the country next time. Trans-Pacific Partnership. The meeting among the signatory nations to the Trans-Pacific Partnership is going to be held. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. The meeting among the signatories to the Trans-Pacific Partnership was held. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Our trip to Hokkaido was very nice, excluding the rainy day. Our trip to Hokkaido was very good, except for excluding the rainy days. Excluding. Rule out, leave out. The coach left out the member. The coach ruled out the member from the team. The coach excluded the member out of the team for his corruption. My grandfather at that time had been to many all over the prefectures, excluding Okinawa. So I took them, my grandfather and mother, to Okinawa with LCC because they didn't know how to take LCC. When we went to Okinawa, my grandfather had been to all the prefectures of Japan, excluding Okinawa. So by going to Okinawa, he has been to all prefectures in Japan. When we went to Okinawa, my grandfather had been to all over the prefectures, excluding Okinawa. So by going to Okinawa, he went to all of the prefectures in Japan. I bought some textbooks with a view to studying a lot. I took a day off with a view to watching the soccer game. I think many people must have taken a day off with a view to watching the soccer game. With the aim of watching the soccer game. I think many people were watching the soccer game. I think many people took a day off or stay late at night with the aim of watching the soccer game yesterday. I think many people stayed late last night with a view to watching the soccer game. With the aim of 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 watching a 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 soccer game. Some people go to Tokyo with the aim of searching for jobs. With the aim of getting a job. Some people go to Tokyo or Osaka with the aim of getting a job or excitement. Some people go to urban cities with the aim of getting excitement, jobs, and so on. Many people must have stayed late at night yesterday with the aim of watching the soccer game, Japan versus Germany. To my surprise, Japan won 2-1 by 2-1. Putting a bill into effect takes time. Taking effect takes time. Taking effective of the bill of the law takes time. Taking effect of the law takes time. The law coming into effect takes time. Can you put an end to the task by today? Can you put an end to the task by Friday? Could you bring to an end? Could you bring the task to an end by Friday? Could you bring the task to an end? Could you bring the task to an end by Friday? So that we can go to the party on Friday night. It's not possible to put the bill into effect in a day. It's not possible to put the bill into effect in a day. Why do you want to put the bill into effect so soon, so immediately, so promptly, in no time? Putting a bill into effect takes time. Putting a bill into effect takes time. Putting a law into effect takes time. Putting the measure into effect takes some time. Putting the ordinance into effect takes time. Everything takes time. It takes some time for the bill, for the law or ordinance or other decisions to put into effect. Many procedures have to be processed until the law is put into effect. Many procedures and time are needed for the law to be put into effect. The politicians are rushing to put the bill into effect. The politicians are rushing to put the law into effect. The politicians are rushing to put the law into effect. The notorious law was put into effect. It takes time for the bill, for the law to be put into effect. Some of the politicians prevented the bill law to be put into effect. Some of the lawmakers prevented the law to be put into effect. Some of the lawmakers hindered, hampered, prevented, stopped the law from being put into effect. It's easy to say, but difficult to put them into practice. Can you put what you have said into practice? Can you put what you have said into practice? Putting a bill into effect takes time. Putting a law into effect takes time. Putting ordinance into effect takes time. Putting the code into effect takes time. Putting a law into effect takes time. It takes time to put a law into effect. It takes time to put a law into effect. It takes time to put the law into effect. It takes time to put the treaty, accord, pact into effect. Accord. It takes time to the accord to be put into effect. It takes time to put accord into effect. It takes time to put accord into effect. It takes time to put accord into effect. Accord, treaty, pact, agreement, accord, pact, agreement. It takes time to put accord into effect. 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 Accord, pact, accord. It takes time to put accord into effect. Accord. It takes time to put accord into effect. Accord, pact. Accord, pact. What is the difference between accord and pact? Which seems to have same meaning, right? Accord, pact. It takes time to put accord into effect. Many procedures have to be processed. Accord. Accord, pact. In the joint statement, they announced the new name of the group. In the joint statement, they announced the new name of the group. I'd like to reconfirm my reservation. Please reaffirm your preparation again before your departure, okay? To make sure that you don't have missing ones. Please please reaffirm what you have and belongings before you leave, so that you won't forget anything, okay? In order that you won't forget anything, okay? To the examination venue. Do you usually reaffirm your reservation before you arrive at the hotel? Do you reaffirm your reservation before your departure? Do you reaffirm your reservation before you leave your house? Let's reaffirm our plan again. I reaffirm more frequently than others. I reaffirm over and over again. I tend to reaffirm time and time again. I tend to reaffirm. I am apt to reaffirm. I am inclined to reaffirm. I am apt to reaffirm. I am prone to reaffirm many times. I tend to reaffirm things more and more frequently, very frequently, because I tend to be very nervous. I am apt to reaffirm a thing time and time again, time and again, over and over again. Hotels are usually located in strategic places, like very near from stations and so on. Hotels are usually located in strategic places. Do you know about economic integration? Economic integration. With economic integration, the countries will benefit. What can both countries can benefit from the economic integration? What can both countries benefit from the economic integration? What does economic integration exactly mean? What does economic integration exactly mean? What can both countries can benefit from the economic integration? What can this country benefit from the economic integration? What can the country benefit from economic integration? What can the country benefit from the economic integration? to our relief, to our alleviation, my grandfather was released from the hospital. The postpone of the sports meeting was released, which disappointed us all. The new type of the car was released at the conference. The new type of the car is going to be released at the conference today, at the show today. Many types of cars will be released at the show today. Many standards were built, created after the World War II. So many of them might be obsolete and need to be changed, revised, and so on. The qualifications might be one of the standards when they hire an employee. Attitude is one of the standards to be reputed in the job interview. Attitude is one of the standards which is overseen during the interview. Attitude is one of the standards which are included in the assessment. Attitude is included in the assessment. Attitude is one of the standards which are included in the assessment. Attitude is one of the standards which are included in the assessment. What is standard? Waking up in the morning and sleep at night is standard. Many people will base their decision on standard. Many people will base their decisions on standard. Today's standard might be not accepted in the future. The standards which were accepted in the past might not be accepted today. Standards will change with time, over time. %50 of occupation of the hospitals will be the standard to issue the state of emergency. 50% of occupation rate of the hospitals will be the standard to warn us more things. %50 of occupation of hospitals will be the standard to level up the warning. The occupation rate of the hospitals will be the standard to level up or level down the warning. The occupation rate of the hospitals will be the standard to issue or level up the warning. The occupation rate, fatality rate will be the standards whether or not the state of emergency will be issued. The occupation rate of the hospitals, fatality rate will be are the standards of whether or not the state of emergency is issued. There are many kinds of standards. Weather is the standard, whether or not the sports meeting is held or not. The weather is the standard of whether or not the sports meeting will be held. The weather is the standard of whether or not the sports meeting will be held or not. Many companies are promoting their products through social networking service, TV commercial, and so on. Many companies are promoting their products in hopes of good savings from customers to attract customers. Many companies are promoting their products through social networking service. Many companies are promoting their products through SNS. To everyone's surprise, the employee was promoted to section chief. To everyone's surprise, the employee was promoted to the section chief. Do you think there is a prospect that I can pass examination? Do you think there is a prospect of me passing the examination? Do you think there is a prospect that I can pass the examination? Of course, everyone does. At that time, there was no prospect that I could pass examination, but I made it. Overturned everyone's expectations, predictions. Prospect. There is a prospect that he will be elected as the Prime Minister. Can you challenge something without prospect of success? Can you take a risk of something which is not prospect at all? Can you take a risk? Can you run a risk of challenging something which is not prospect at all, which doesn't have prospect at all? Can you challenge something which doesn't have prospect of success at all? Can you challenge something which doesn't have the prospect of success at all? Prospect of rain. Prospect of passing the examination. Prospect of succeeding in the business. The investor invested tremendous amount of money in the company because he already knew the prospect of the company succeeding in the business. The investor had already known the prospect of the company succeeding in the business before it started to be prosperous, thriving. The investor had already known the prospect of the company succeeding in the business before it started to succeed. Please do not pass up the opportunity. This opportunity is too good to lose. This opportunity is too good to lose, so I jumped on the opportunity. If I were you, I would jump on the opportunity. If I were you, I would jump on the opportunity. Are you interested in trade? Are you interested in working in a trading company? Fair trade should be guaranteed. Fair trade should be secured. 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 Trade should be done with fair trade. Trade should be done under fair trade. Fair trade should be kept. Fair trade should be centralized in the policy. Fair trade should be secured at all times. Fair trade, fair trade, fair trade. Fair trade should be always secured. Fair trade. Fair trade should be secured. Fair trade should be secured. Do you like to trade? I used to trading cars with my friends, which was fun. I used to trading cars with my friends. In the past, people used to trade rice for other things. In the past, people in Japan used to trade rice for other things. Rice was centralized in the trading. Rice was centralized in the trading in the past. People in the past used to pay tax by rice. The company has been trading with many overseas companies. The company has been trading with overseas companies for a long time. Japan stopped trading with many countries after Sakoku isolation policy, with some exceptions. Japan has been trading with many companies in the world. Japan has been trading with many companies in the world. Do you like to trade? Do you like trading? Do you like to trade? Many things are being traded in the world. 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 I used to trade my trading cards for those from my friends. I used to trade my trading cards for those from my friends. I used to trade my trading cards for my friends, which was fun. When the foreign exchange was closed, I traded my Japanese yen for US dollars with my friends. Can I trade my Japanese yen for US dollars here? Excuse me, I'm searching for a place where I can exchange my Japanese yen for US dollars. Excuse me, I'm searching for a place where I can trade my Japanese yen for US dollars. Excuse me, I'm searching for a place where I can trade my Japanese yen for US dollars. People in the past in Japan used to trade rice for other things. Excuse me, could you trade my seat for yours? Excuse me, could you trade my seat for yours? Excuse me, could you trade my ticket for yours? I used to trade my trading cards for my friends. People in the past in Japan used to trade rice for other things. Rice was the center for trading in the past in Japan. Excuse me, could you trade my seat for yours? Excuse me, could you trade this product for a new one because it flaws in the product and it is still under insurance term. Excuse me, there are some flaws in the product, so could you trade that for a new one? Besides, it is under insurance term. I'd like to trade the old batteries for new ones because the flashlight is getting dim. I'd like to trade old batteries for new ones. The coach traded 2 members for others as strategy. The coach traded 2 members for other 2 members as a strategy, which worked well. I know better than to trade my house for 10,000 yen. I know better than to trade my time for such a boring job. Are you a trader? Are you a trader? Are you a trader? Trader. Some traders are well known in the world. Do you want to be a trader? Are you familiar with the trader? Do you know the trader? The trader is well known to the world. The trader is familiar to the world. The trader is familiar to the world. Trader, 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 trader. The trader is well known to the world. Do you want to be a trader? Do you want to be a trader? Do you want to be a trader? What do traders usually do? What are the features we should have as a trader to become a trader? What skills or features should I have to become a trader? What skills do you recommend that I should have? What skills do you recommend I have? I should have, I try to get. What skills do you recommend I should get? What skills do you recommend that I should get? What skills do you recommend that I get? What skills do you recommend I should get? To become a trader. Do you like trading? Trading card games. Did you used to play trading card game? Trading card game might be fascinating for some people, while others don't. Trading card games did not attract some of my friends. It was popular among some students. Trading card game. Trading. Trading. Are you interested in trading? Do you have the interest in trading? Did you play trading card game? Have you played the trading card game? Trading card game. We are in a trade-off principle. We cannot achieve both. If you want to get higher score on the academic field, you have to study at the expense of hanging out with friends outside. We cannot do both. So we are in a trade-off principle. We are in a trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. If you want to get higher score on the test, you have to study at the expense of playing outside, hanging out with friends. If you want to hang out with friends, you have to be at the expense of studying and getting higher score on the test. This is the trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. We are in a trade-off principle. If you want to lose weight, you have to cut the amount of food. You cannot lose weight by eating a lot. This is also trade-off principle. If you want to eat, you can eat, but you cannot lose your weight. This is also trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. Trade-off between Japanese yen and US dollars. Trade-off. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. We cannot achieve both. We cannot achieve both. We have to sacrifice another one to achieve the one. This is trade-off principle. We have to sacrifice the other to achieve one. We have to sacrifice the other to achieve one. We have to sacrifice the other to achieve one. If there are two options you want to achieve, we have to sacrifice the other to achieve one. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. Trade-off principle. This is the 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 trade-off principle. If we want to adept at playing the piano, you have to devote much of the time to the practice at the expense of some things. If you want to be adept at playing the piano, you have to devote the time to the practice. And you have to sacrifice other things for the time. You have to sacrifice the time dedicated to other things if you want to be adept at playing the piano. This is also trade-off principle. 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 If there are two options, for example, getting higher score on the test and hanging out with friends outside, we cannot achieve both. We have to sacrifice the other to achieve one. Trade-off principle. Would you mind helping me? Put out the needles from the gap? Would you mind helping me put out grass, weeds? Would you mind helping me remove the weeds from the gap? Concrete, asphalt. Many people will put out at the earlier stage of something. Only a few people will remain. That's why only a few people are successful. Many people will put out before they achieve their goals. Only a few people will remain until they achieve the goals. That's why only a few people are successful. I think the combination of the curiosity and persistency is the key to success. Can you keep to what you have decided forever? perpetually, eternally, until you achieve your goals, okay? Many businesses pulled out after the pandemic. More and more businesses will pull out in the recession. More and more companies will pull out, losing the business. Globally, more and more companies might pull out in the business, in the globalization. More and more companies might pull out, losing the competition in the world. More and more companies might pull out in the business by losing the business in the world, by losing the competition in the world, by losing in the competitive market. Some stores and shops pulled out during the pandemic, which is very sad. Some stores and shops, even hotels I have stayed, pulled out from their businesses, which made me so sad. Not many people will agree with me. Not many people will agree to my ideas. What is the difference between agreement and pact? Agreement or accord? The country A made a peaceful agreement with the country B. The country A made an economic agreement with the country B. The athlete made an agreement with the company. 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 The athlete made an yearly agreement with the company. The athlete made a 5-year agreement with the company. The country A made an peace agreement with the country B. The country A made an economic agreement with the company B. The country A made an economic agreement with the country B. Making an agreement with others is not an easy task. Making agreement with others is not an easy task. Making an agreement with others is not an easy task. Agreement, 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 agreement. Make an agreement with, make an agreement with, make an agreement with others is not an easy task. The country A made an economic agreement with the country B. The country A made an economic agreement with the country B. The company A made an agreement with the company B. The company A made an agreement with the company B. The company A hopes to make an agreement with the company B. The company A hopes to make an agreement with the company B. The supplier made an agreement with the company. The supplier made an agreement with the company. The employee made a temporary agreement with the company. The employee made a temporary agreement with the company. The employee made an yearly agreement with the company. The candidate made a 3-year agreement with the company. I hope to make an agreement with the company. I hope to make an agreement with the company. The salesman succeeded in making an agreement with the company. The salesman succeeded in making an agreement with the customer by visiting. The salesman finally succeeded in making an agreement with the customer. The salesperson finally succeeded in making an agreement with the company. The salesperson finally succeeded in making an agreement with the customer. The salesperson finally succeeded in making an agreement with the customer, making an agreement, 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 making an agreement. The salesperson succeeded in making an agreement, 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 making an agreement with the customer. The salesperson finally succeeded in making an agreement with the customer. The salesman is very popular to be able to make an agreement with many customers by visiting. The salesman is very popular enough to be able to make an agreement with customers. I never make an agreement with a stranger. I never make an agreement with a stranger. I never makes an agreement with a stranger. I will not make an agreement with a company which I don't know at all. I will not make an agreement with a company which I don't know at all. The salesperson made a zero agreement with customers today. The salesperson made a zero agreement with the customers today. Making an agreement with customers is very difficult. I won't make an agreement with someone I don't know. I won't make an agreement with a company which I don't know. I try to be agreeable. I try to be agreeable to everybody. I try to be agreeable. If the staff showed not agreeable attitude toward the customer might not come again. The staff, all of the staffs are educated to be agreeable when talking with the customers. Agreeable. All of the staffs are told to be nice, kind, and agreeable to the customers. All of the employees in the shop, all of the staffs in the store are told, instructed to be agreeable to the customers. Agreeable. My ideas are not always agreeable to others. I'm not agreeable with you. Many people are not agreeable to my ideas. Many people are not agreeable to my ideas. Many people are not agreeable to my ideas. Agreeable behavior, agreeable attitude toward the customers. Agreeable attitude to the customers is very important for meeting customers, for communicating with customers, in communicating with customers. Agreeable attitude, agreeable behavior is very important in communicating with customers, people. I try to be agreeable to everyone, at all times. I try to be agreeable to others. I try to be agreeable to others. Agreeable. I try to be agreeable to others. Agreeable. If the staff is not agreeable at all, the customer might not come again. Agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior. Agreeable behavior. I try to be agreeable to everybody. I try to be agreeable to everyone. Agreeable. 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 Is they both agreeable? If the staff is not agreeable, the customer might not come again. If the attitude of the staff is not agreeable, the customer might not visit again. Agreeable. I try to be agreeable to others. Agreeable behavior. Agreeable behavior. Agreeable behavior. I try to show agreeable behavior. I try to show agreeable behavior. I attempt to show agreeable behavior. I seek to show agreeable behavior. I look to show agreeable behavior. 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 Agreeable. agreeable, agreeable behavior, agreeable, 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 I try to be agreeable, agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior, agreeable, agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior, agreeable, 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 agreeable behavior, agreeable behavior. I try to be agreeable to everybody. We should be agreeable to everybody. If the staff is not agreeable, the customers might not visit again. Agreeable, 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 agreeable. Is they both agreeable? All of the staffs in this store are educated to be agreeable. All of the staffs in this store are educated to be agreeable to customers. Agreeable, agreeable. There are many options to choose in this store, or even too many. There are many options to choose in this store. There are many selections of goods. Many selections of goods. There are many selections of goods. There are wide range of wide range of goods. Wide range of products. Too many to choose. It's too cold to swim in the sea. I try to make a quick option. I think successful people can make a quick option. Make a quick option. I think successful people can make a quick action, quick option, quick decision. Make a quick option, make a quick option, make an option, make a late option, make a speedy option, make a quick option. Can you make a quick option? 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 I think successful people can make a quick option. We are sometimes faced with making a difficult option. We are sometimes confronted with making a difficult option. We are sometimes obliged to make a difficult option. We are sometimes obliged to make a difficult option. Make a difficult option. We are obliged to make a difficult option sometimes. We are sometimes confronted with making a difficult option. Make a difficult option. Make a difficult option. Make a difficult option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option, quick decision. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. I think you should you should have a pet if you want to be forced to work. If you want to be forced to work. If you want to be forced to work. Option. There are many options to choose in this store because there are many goods sold here. There were few options to choose from the subjects in the university, so I was obliged to take some subjects which I was not interested in. There are many options to choose in our life, but the options might be limited by anxiety and so on. I think successful people can make a quick option. I think successful people can make a quick option. I think successful people can make a quick option. I think successful people can make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option without thinking much. When I was at the cashier of the McDonald's, I was forced to make a quick option because many people were waiting behind me. So I had to make a quick option and choose what to eat, what to order. In urban cities, we are often forced to make a quick option because there are many people waiting behind us. So we have to make a quick option, especially in fast food restaurant. In urban cities, especially in lunchtime, we are always obliged to make a quick option of what to order at the restaurant. Can you make a quick option? Can you make a quick option? Or take much time before deciding? Can you make a quick option or make a very late option to think much before deciding? Can you make a quick option or think much? Take a lot of time before deciding. Can you make a quick option or take much time before deciding? Can you make a quick option? 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 I think successful people can make a quick option. I predict successful people can make a quick option. We are sometimes confronted with making a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We are sometimes forced to make a quick option. We have no choice but to do what we like. We have no selection option but to do what we love. I had no choice but to study. I had no choice but to study. I had no option but to study after school. I had no choice but to study after school. I had no choice but to study after school. I had no option but to study after school. I had no choice but to forego lunch yesterday. I had no option but to forego lunch, do without lunch. I had no option but forego lunch. I had no choice but forego lunch. I had no choice but do without lunch. We have no choice but to forego lunch today. We have no option but to borrow some gas from the passers-by. We have no choice. We have no option but to borrow some gas, petroleum from passers-by. We have no option but to ask somebody the directions to the destination. I had no option but to walk to my house because the last train had already gone by the time I arrived at the station. Because the train had already gone by the time I arrived at the station. I had no choice. I had no option. I had no option but to go home on foot. I had no option but to go home on foot. I had no option but to walk home. I had no option but 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 to walk home. I had no option but to walk home. I had no choice but to walk home. I had no choice but to walk home. I had no option but to walk home. Could you give me a ride to Narita Airport? Could you give me a ride to Ueno Station? Could you give me a ride to Tokyo Station? I had no option but to study. I had no option but to study. I had no choice but to study after school. Is it optional? Is it optional? Optional question might be conducted by the police officers. Optional. The police officer made an optional question to us. There are some optional tours in the package tour for a fee, for extra fee. If you pay extra, you can also participate in the optional tours, which are included in the package tour. If you pay extra and if you are interested in those, you can also participate in, take part in the optional tours. Optional package, optional selections, optional. Is the party optional or mandatory, compulsory, obligatory? Is taking part in the party obligatory, mandatory, compulsory, or optional? Is taking part in the party optional? Is taking part in the party optional or mandatory, compulsory, obligatory, stationary? Fabric. Whether or not going to high school is optional in Japan. Up to junior high school is obligatory, mandatory. Whether or not we will go to high school is optional here in Japan. Whether or not going to high school, whether we will go to high school is optional here in Japan. Whether or not we go to high school is optional. If you don't wanna go, you don't have to. But we have to go to up to junior high school here, with which is included in the compulsory education. And there are a few optional subjects in the university, so I was obliged to take some subjects which I didn't have the interest in. There were a few select optional subjects in the university, so I was obliged to take some subjects which I was not interested in, but I got the credits by studying hard. Although I've forgotten most of them though. Optional. There are some optional parts you can add later if you pay extra. There are some optional parts you can add for a fee. Optional question. Optional tour. Taking part in the party. Participating in the party is optional, not compulsory. Police officers sometimes ask you a question, optionally. Police officers might ask you a question, optionally. Police officers might ask you questions, optionally. Police officers might check your belongings, optionally. Police officers might ask you questions, optionally. Police officers might ask you some questions, optionally. Police officers might ask you some questions, optionally. Police officers might ask you questions, optionally. Police officers might ask you questions, optionally. Police officers might ask you questions optionally. Police officers might ask you questions optionally. 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 Police officers might ask you questions optionally. You can do whatever you want optionally, unless it violates the law. You can do whatever you want optionally, unless it violates the law. Optionally. The inspector enters the facility optionally to find if the workers are working on schedule, as follows, as educated, as followed, as indicated, as instructed. The ombudsman sometimes visits the office to see if the workers are working as instructed. The ombudsman sometimes visits the office to see if they are working as instructed, as educated, as directed. The general manager sometimes visits the factory optionally to see if they are working, if the employees are working hard, as instructed. Optionally, 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 optionally. Many things are optionally. Many things are happening optionally. Please have lunch optionally, because we don't have exact lunch time. So if you have the time, please have the lunch optionally. When you have the time, please have the lunch optionally. You can do whatever you want. Optionally, unless it violates the law. Optionally. Police officers might ask you questions optionally. The staffs are asking questions from the passers-by optionally. You can take the vaccination optionally. It's not compulsory, nor obligatory, nor mandatory. You can avoid taking the vaccination. Taking vaccination is optional. You can take the vaccination optionally. You can have the lunch optionally. We don't have exact time for lunch, so please have the lunch optionally when you have the time. The train has been suspended for a reason, so I will inform you the information once I get updated. So in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Now I have updated. According to the information, the railroad is coordinating alternative transportation method, which will take for a while, so let's wait and see. The railroad is arranging alternative method, alternative transportation way. The railroad is arranging alternative transportation now. Alternative method, alternative food, alternative way, alternative tool. Rice used to be used as an alternative of glue, instant glue, and so on. I used to use rice as a glue, as an alternative way. When I did not have instant glue, I used to use rice as an alternative way, alternative energy might be should be used more to save energy, the environment. Alternative energy, alternative energy, alternative energy, alternative alternative method, alternative energy. In the job interview, I was told that there were tremendous number of alternatives who can do the same work. In the job interview, I was told that there are a number of alternatives who could do the same job. If I was absent from the work, no one can be my alternative. If I'm absent from the work, no one can be alternative of my alternative. Because it is only me who can operate a machine. Alternative. In the job interview, I was told that there are a great number of alternatives who could do the same job, same work. In the job interview, I was told that there were a number of alternatives who can do the same job, who could do the same job. In the job interview, I was told that there were a number of alternatives who could do the same job, In the job interview, I was told that there were many alternatives who can do the same job. Alternative energy should be developed more. The approach to the destination was blocked by the fallen trees, so we took alternative route. So we took the alternative route. If I am absent from the work, no one can be my alternative. No one can be alternative. This is the only driver we have, and we don't have alternative. So please take care of that. Please do not lose it. This is the only key to the door, so please do not lose it. We don't have alternative. This is the only key to the door, so please do not forget it. Please do not lose it. We don't have alternative. Since I have allergy to the pork, the chef tried the pork with beef alternatively. Since I'm allergic to the cheese, the chef tried the cheesecake with shortcake. For shortcake. My birthday was on Monday, so although it was one day earlier, I celebrated my birthday on Sunday, alternatively. Although my birthday was on Monday, but I celebrated my birthday on the previous day, on Sunday, alternatively. Although my birthday was on Monday, but I celebrated my birthday on the previous day, Sunday, alternatively. Alternatively. Since the restaurant was closed, so we went to another one, alternatively. The restaurant we wanted to go was so packed with customers, so alternatively, we went to another one. Alternatively. Some people have a comprehensive knowledge of a particular field. Some people have such a comprehensive knowledge of a particular field. Sorry, I couldn't comprehend what you said. I cannot comprehend. I cannot make a heads or tails of what you have said. I cannot make heads or tails of what the professor is explaining. This examination is designed to assess your listening comprehension. This examination is designed to assess your comprehension. I'm looking for a textbook comprehensible, more comprehensible than the previous one. The direct explanation from the teacher was more comprehensible than that from textbook. The direct explanation from the teacher was more comprehensible than that explained in the textbook. The criminal's house was investigated comprehensively. In order to pass the examination, you have to read the textbook comprehensively, over and over again. No matter when you go to the restaurant, you will find it crowded with customers. Since the restaurant was crowded with customers, so alternatively, we went to another one. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.